Hello and welcome back to another episode of Stay Hydrated with my brother, Christopher Hall.
And my sister, Elizabeth Hall.
Woo!
Yeah. Hey there.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I am enjoying life at the moment.
That's good. I was kind of thinking earlier, like, me too.
We sat on the couch last night and I just said, I'm really proud of us, proud of this podcast, proud of, we've done some content that I think is funny and I think we're like doing that.
Yeah.
We did a background singer video with Rita. Have we spoken about that on the podcast? We did Rita Ora
huge
content, which was incredible.
We didn't tell her because it maybe would have been scary, but we have a few sibling songs that really just mean a lot to us. They resonate. And one of them is Meet Ya by Rita Ora.
I want to meet ya there. This time I'll say, baby, I need ya.
Which is like first album.
Won't be the same. Yeah, so we couldn't really get, obviously we kind of kept it professional. We did the videos. But that was mega to meet her.
Yeah, really cool. So nice.
And Rita Ora, that first album reminds me so, like, I can like feel the energy. I can feel on the air around me. I can feel my college days, my uni days / college. It wasn't a uni, it was a college because it was a dance school. LOL. But my like college days, like, is so like on Rita Ora, like R.I.P. party and bullshit. And people were like dressing like she was kind of very Boy London. Like I feel people who had dark hair were kind of dyeing their hair lighter to almost look like Rita. Like the makeup, I think, was very like 2010. People were like, and hot right now. Are you joking?
Yeah, yeah.
You know you're only in it because it's hot right now.
No, it's incredible.
Hot right now. Turn it up right now.
Yeah, put your hands in the air if you want it right now.
Ayo, ayo.
Yeah, period.
Hot right now. Like, what? You know you're only in it because
So yeah, that was incredible.
So that was amazing. And she was so lovely. She was so down. She was so like, let's do it. Let's get it good. Let's get it right. She learned the choreo. Amazing. And then we last week you will have heard Diana Vickers on Le Pod.
Yes, on Le Pod.
And we like did a video with her. And she was the first artist. I'm going to maybe guess maybe the last artist to come to our house to do the background singer reveal.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Which was really fun.
Diana Vickers in our kitchen. Creating content. But no, anyway, the point was I was sort of like just really proud of like what we've been doing work-wise. Proud. You were saying, maybe we've said this again, Elizabeth's gotten, she's just finished her second year of uni. She's gotten a first in everything that she's done. It's been pretty crazy.
What the fuck?
I've been trying.
Trying and succeeding.
And honestly,
you've been engaging.
Being a mature student is gorgeous because you do actually just do the work. Obviously you still have to do it, but like when I was 19 in university, they would truly be like, hey, do you mind doing this work? And I would be like, fuck you, that's fucking crazy. Whereas now it's like, I would love to do that work, and actually I will do the wider reading. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to do it. Let me explore.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, well, good for you.
Thank you.
It's really... Anyway, so the point was that I said I was really proud of you and then proud of, like, the little empire that we're sort of... tiny empire.
The little empire, which at the moment, if we were on Age of Empires, would be two villager houses. And... No, wait. What would our empire at the moment in Age of Empires would be... Maybe a wood farm. What's that called? Like a
log farm?
No.
Timber farm?
Timber something.
Lumber yard.
Yeah, we'd have a little lumber yard. We would not yet have a barracks.
No, or would we have done the cheat to get the car? This is a game. This is a computer game, Age of Empires. I even think it was Age of Empires 3, maybe that we were playing, and you built like rudimentary tents that became, it was like the start of civilization computer game,
and then it could evolve into,
and then you had like people like, then you end up battling like in Roman times or whatever, but there was a cheat that you could get a car that shot bullets, and it just like trashed.
You kind of won the game at that point.
If you sent the car to your neighboring wood settlements,
it was over.
The car, it was over. Did you ever play Caesar 3?
Yes.
So Caesar 3.
I always preferred Caesar, I think.
Loved Caesar 3. So Caesar 3 was, again, like building an ancient...
Roman.
An ancient... Thank you.
No.
You took the words out. I was saying it.
Yeah, you were. You were saying Rome.
Ancient Roman, like, town.
Imagine it just turns out Caesar was Greek.
Greek, yeah.
No, he's Roman.
Roman.
Famously, Roman Empire.
Yeah, that's literally him. Caesar salad comes from Rome. Caesar was good. I liked doing that because you could make the marble, like piazza'd roads,
Gorgeous.
like mosaic roads.
Yeah.
So when you upgraded your roads, because as you made your towns, it got more. Yeah, it upgraded in like technology and everything. So it starts with like a dirt track, then it went to like a stone cobble, then it went to like a colourful mosaic.
That's beautiful.
Piazza kind of situation. Anyways. The little empire we're making here is
nothing but a few tents, but we're working on it.
A couple tents.
We continue to build.
Thank you so much for thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for being here. If you don't follow us online, that would be amazing. On Instagram and TikTok. If you don't follow the podcast online, that would be amazing. If you could. Elizabeth's got some music on Spotify that you should listen to.
Yeah, and new music coming up very soon. But I'll keep you updated.
And if you're in London, I have a show with Grace Campbell at the Phoenix Arts Club in London's Soho, the beating heart of the city, on the 8th of July. Do come. And if you're heading up to Edinburgh Fringe, I will be there with my Work in Progress show from the 11th until the 24th of August. So shout out.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And speaking of, that would be to do stand-up.
Yeah.
And we are currently podcasting.
Yeah.
And speaking of stand-up and podcasting, those are two things that our guest this week does fantastically.
Good segue.
Thank you. Our guest this week is our first virtual online guest. And our first international guest. No, not first international. First international?
First international?
First international guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because...
Everyone else has been
from the UK.
Yeah.
So, and if this person's not our first international guest, then I'm sorry.
And pretend we didn't say this.
But I think he is. He's a stand-up comedian and a podcaster in Australia. I met him when I was doing my show in Melbourne last year. He's an absolute sweetheart, and I've been a guest on his podcast a couple of times. We were a guest on his podcast a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And we are super excited to welcome to your headphones, Sammy Petersen.
Stay hydrated. First thing in the morning, tired and yawning. What you gonna do?
I'll clap myself. What an honor. What an honor. What an honor. It's so funny. I'm in my apartment right now and you two are together like over there. I'm just like clapping myself.
Yeah.
It's like there used to be a TV show in Australia. It's so funny as well, like coming off the back, as I was telling, like, 4 weeks of shows, and now I can't get enough of the clapping, and I'm just clapping for myself every night at the same time I'd usually go on stage.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
in Australia there was a TV show that they didn't have an audience, or they didn't have the numbers to get a crowd every single week, because Australia's quite small in that way, that we don't have a huge TV community or anything, and it's quite small in that way. And it was so funny. There used to be a show called Good Morning Australia, and the cameramen used to laugh and clap, but they were the only people that did it. And I think it's quite funny to now do that for yourself as well, just to kind of just clap for yourself, because there's nothing more depressing than one person clapping themselves. I think.
Big yourself up, honestly.
Sometimes
Big yourself up. You simply must.
You just need that extra bit of support, and sometimes that is just from within.
That's right. Well, I met Chris in Australia when you were here, and I've been such a big fan of you two for such a long time. So I loved watching you two, and just kept like you two popped up on my algorithm like a long time ago, and I continually and just watch everything that you two do, and your YouTube series was just amazing. So it's a real honor to be in the very low numbers of podcast guests that you actually invited on.
Oh, you
God.
are. I'm so glad you are here. When I was in Australia last year, it was so exciting. It was such a huge like career moment. But I actually found it was so exciting, but it was one of the times in sort of recent years that I'd felt quite lonely, and like not even in a terrible. I remember texting friends being like, they were like, how's it going? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm kind of lonely. But and they were like, oh no. And I was like, no, it's fine. It's just what's happening. Like I'm literally in another country.
I actually am.
Yeah, I just am. Like I'm in another country. Like as a comedian, you kind of, a lot of the time you are just by yourself. And I'm obviously connecting with people. I had a producer out there who was amazing. And there was other UK comedians, and there was other people that I met there, in Adelaide and Melbourne and Sydney. But it's a lot of time by yourself. Like I remember when I traveled from Melbourne to Sydney, I met a friend in Melbourne, I think for breakfast. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I sort of did my whole travel day to Sydney. Then I did my whole evening by myself in Sydney. And then like in the next morning, I like went and did the Sydney Opera House by myself. And I was there for about 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, that's it, done. Like actually, if you're by yourself, you just look at it and then you're like, well, I've taken it in. Anyway, my point was...
just clapping for yourself again every
just
night.
Clapping for the Sydney Opera House myself.
Alone again.
I made it here. I made it down to the harbour. But my point is, we met doing your podcast, and you were just immediately so friendly, so warm, and we just had the best maybe hour and a half, couple hours. I don't even know, how long we were together, maybe even just a couple of hours, but you were a real highlight of my trip. So.
It was so lovely, and so lovely to meet you after all this time, and Lizzie, to meet you as well. Like we were talking about you getting back into singing as well. I was just saying before, like to Chris, like doing a month of like the comedy festival, and here like every night, it's just so funny being solo that whole time. And even if you're like surrounded by wonderful people who come to the show, and you're lucky enough to do it to a show, there is a moment when you walk into the shittest green room in the world, and it's just like. And you're just by yourself again. Yeah. And it's just like a really bad like clothes rack and everything. Like the great Tom Allen was in Australia and it came on my podcast, and I'd never met Tom Allen before, but I was a huge Tom Allen fan, and he came on my podcast, and it was just so funny walking into his shit dressing room. And it was like, no matter how big you get, you still walk into a shit dressing room with like water as a drain going over you from the toilet system. And it's like, that's showbiz, baby.
It is. That's it. In Edinburgh last year, I was sharing a venue with one of my best friends. So her show was before mine, and then mine was after. And we had like, I think it was like half an hour in between our shows. So like Grace would do her show, maybe there'd be people around, and then like I'd meet her in the green room afterwards, and she'd be like buzzing after her show. She'd be like, oh, it was great. Okay, love you, bye, you can have a great show. And then I'd have like this weird 15 minutes of just like staring at the wall, like after like being high from like seeing her, and then suddenly everyone's gone again.
Yeah. And you're by yourself. And also when when you get to do the really small venue sometimes as well, it's really funny because a lot of the time I was at one point standing behind a curtain as people were coming in, and the tech would just say, oh, just stand behind the curtain for a little bit. So I'd stand behind the curtain just before the show would start, and they'd let people in. That would take about 10 minutes, and then I would just hear people before the show being like, I haven't really heard from him. I haven't heard about him before. I don't really know. Like my sister likes him, but I don't really know if he's my cup of tea. Like I looked at stuff online and I don't really like him that much. And it's just all these conversations that you can hear so clearly before you go on stage. Yeah. And then what's worse is the end, when then you get the reviews live, because it's like someone will just go, it wasn't really for me. And I heard full circle. Yeah, full circle moments of people still not fans after the show.
Yeah. Please wait until you're just at least, honestly, 3 minutes away from the venue. Yeah, give us a second.
What about you, Lizzie, for getting back into like doing live performing? Have you noticed like a huge change since you did it the first time?
I feel, to be honest, even though I used to do it more, I feel much more confident now. It is funny what you said about the green room though, because the other day, I can't remember quite what happened. I think I turned up too early at this venue and my guitar bag had broken. And I went up and I couldn't find my dressing room, and I kept going up floors to find my dressing room and couldn't find it. Yeah. And in the end was just like, here will do. Went in, I smacked my head on like a railing, and then I went to the toilet and it like wouldn't like flush or work. And then I went to another room and wouldn't open. Why would it?
Yeah. Why would it?
This is the green room. This is the green room. This is not, And I just remember thinking, and after I'd smacked my head, I was like, that's got to be my 3 pieces of bad luck. The show's going to go great.
Yep.
There's like no way after all that I can sing badly.
Yeah.
No, there's no way. It's not going to happen. That's it. Like you've had the all out bad 3 things out of the way. Yeah.
Exactly that. And then I remember I went downstairs with none of my stuff just to find my dressing room, and it was on stage level. I'd had like a really lovely dressing room
the whole time
next to the main band on stage level. And I was like,
you would have looked so humble though. Like you would have looked so humble to go, I'll take the bad one. I'll take the worst one that's up 4 flights of stairs.
I assumed I was on the 6th floor.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's just me. No, there's no way I can be down on stage level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm grassroots.
Yeah.
I'm grassroots. It's
Chris and I can't even afford microphones in our stands when we do the backup singing.
Exactly.
I'm grassroots. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not even a bit. It's just
real life.
Yeah. I used to do these like corporate dance gigs, and they'd be like Dirty Dancing tribute gigs or boy band gigs or anything. And like sometimes you turn up to a venue and it would be like a kind of like really like fancy hotel, and we'd be in some kind of ballroom in the hotel at like a dinner, and we'd get like a hotel room each, and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes you'd luck out and you'd be like, wow, if every gig was like this, we'll do it. And I remember one, we were in a retirement home, and the room they gave us was like a kind of like residential room in the old people's home. And it was just so odd, like getting dressed into our like sequin sparkly outfits, like in front of like a bed with like railings on that like moved up, and like a sort of medical sort of accessible shower, and we were just like, it's just good to have it all. It's just good to have all the different experiences.
You really can have it all as well. I love like the dressing room on a floor that you wouldn't want to put your clothes on. Yeah. Like you don't want to put your clothes on the floor because it's so dirty and filthy. And you're like, I don't think this has ever been cleaned.
Ever.
Yeah. I remember in Australia, I was saying, I think when we first met, Chris, I was saying to you how funny it is that when you were doing any kind of press in Australia, they would always just kind of have a microphone stand off to the side, just as a bit of just kind of a look over. And I kind of joked to Chris, like at the end of my podcast, that even though it wasn't on camera or anything, just a microphone stand just off to the corner and go, you could do one if you want.
Just in case you fancy it.
No, I don't want to. Just in case you fancy.
Just in case you fancy it.
You could do that if you want. I had one of the worst experiences in Comedy Festival. It was like someone said invited me to like a fancy dinner and stuff, and it was like, oh, I was so excited to go to this fancy dinner, and it was just a really nice environment. It was really fancy, like really over the top, and I didn't really know why I was there or anything. And I was kind of like looking around and going, oh, these aren't really my kind of people. Like it was just really overly rich people that were like, just kind of wanting a dose of comedy, but I think invited a few comedians around. And at one point, one of them just came over and said, you could do a gig if you want. And I was like, I don't want. I really don't want. I don't.
That's the last thing I
don't want to
want.
get up at a dinner.
I'm in the middle of the soup course. I don't need to bring any entertainment to this.
It was like little round tables and people just sitting around these round tables, and then me just awkwardly. Imagine if I got up. Like imagine if I was that gone during the comedy, which I kind of was. Like I was pretty fried. But imagine if I just kind of went, a gig's a gig.
Yeah,
but the show must go on. It's like, no.
This thing on?
Need to.
Yeah,
is this
come on,
thing
guys.
on? Yeah, is this thing on? Plug me back in up the back, please.
Oh my gosh. So how has the comedy festival been? Is this your first solo full show?
This is my first solo show. So I was doing comedy for like probably 8 years. I started when I was 18 years old, and I was so like excited about the world, and did stand up for about 8 years. And then I had a heart attack on stage when I was doing stand up one night, and it was during one of my.
Sorry, you actually did.
I actually blacked out on stage. So I was doing stand up, and I blacked out, and I just fell and just landed on the stage like really hard, and then I kind of woke up, and there was just like a really confused crowd just looking at me. And all I could hear up the back of the room was one person just go, "Is this still part of the act?" Like that was it. Like they didn't know.
You're like,
and I got taken to hospital.
Yeah,
nope.
Someone
it's really
someone.
not. But a gig's a gig. Yeah, I feel that's just clapping for myself.
I feel that's so Aussie. What's going on now?
What is this? What is this? But then that was so disappointed in me. Floor. Yeah. And the last thing I heard as I got taken to hospital was a really drunk girl that turned around with drinks and looked at me as I was being like carried out of the venue, and she just goes, "I still don't get it." Like that was what she said to me when she was like, she was so disappointed. Yeah. It's not for me. Not my kind of humour.
Yeah, I didn't find him funny.
I didn't really get it. But yeah, I did. So I did that, and then I had a huge break because of that experience.
Justifiable.
And now, which is understandable, I guess. But now, and lazy. It's lazy is what it is. And then I started doing podcasting and things, and have only come back this year and decided to do a solo show about that experience of like having a heart attack on stage.
Yeah.
The things that led up to the heart attack on stage, and then moving on. And it was so funny the first time I ever did the show was I opened the show by describing that night, like just kind of going, the year was this year, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of described the feeling of having a heart attack on stage and then black out. So there's like a minute without laughs. It's just very much like you're in it, and that's what the show is going to be. But it was so funny the first time I did the show because I forgot to tell people, which context is everything. And sometimes I feel so dumb when I forget to tell people. I had to say, I'm not going to have a heart attack tonight. Because people are like, oh no, it's going to happen again.
Oh yeah.
Like people are like so worried when you say that.
Yeah, you need to spell it out like,
no
worries. It's happening again.
Hey.
But you really do. It's so funny when you have to actually spell that out so much and just kind of go, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm really, but the more you say I'm fine, you usually think the person probably isn't fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like worried at all about coming back, or were you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah, it was a really big experience. And there was also like just a part of me that was like, oh, what if, like I've got the all clear from the doctor, but what if there's a night when it happens again, or a night when it's not going well, and I get really, because it's all caused by anxiety. It's all like, oh, that like really got me. And then I was like out, and I did smaller gigs to get myself back into it, and went out and did stand up for 6 months, like, you know, for 4 nights a week to get me match fit and get me back on stage before I did my first ever show. But it was a little bit touch and go some nights as well, just going, I hope it doesn't happen tonight. Or like, especially when you're hearing, you know, like I was saying before, when you're standing behind a curtain and you can hear what people are actually thinking of you, there is a moment when you're kind of like, I could just walk away now. Like I don't need to do the show tonight.
Yeah. I'm also like, so earlier on when I was like, you know, when you like black out on stage, you're like, yeah, in quite a serious way. I know it in quite a different context. That is fucking crazy.
And it's so, but just saying, it's like, so sometimes the gig anxiety can be so unpredictable. Like, you can go and do 50 gigs in a year, you know, however many, and like you can get like, you can get the probability of feeling super anxious to go down by the number of gigs you do. So the more gigs you do, the more different audiences, you kind of know like there's a big chance that this is going to go fine. But like I feel maybe we can all relate. Sometimes you're like about to go on and you just feel this like ice bucket just like be poured over you, and it just like goes from like your head to your feet, or like sometimes maybe feet to head, but it just feels this rush of like heat in your body, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
Yep.
This is,
and do I have to do this?
And then like nobody told me to. Like I've now put myself at doing this. So like, but that's so unpredictable sometimes. Like, some of the biggest gigs I've done, I've been totally relaxed, and then it would be some random one that I'm suddenly like, oh my god, like that. So yeah,
terrifying.
Yeah,
and. Also, like, I certainly had experiences as well when, like, you know, when you're doing the show every night for 4 weeks, there was one night, and it was only one night when they were really, really, really quiet. Like, they were smiling and they were into the show, but they weren't really laughing, which is spoiler, is a big part of comedy, and it's a big part of why you do it. And then, the main part, I guess. But then I was like just standing there, just thinking about what I was going to do when I got home. Like, and me, like a long time ago, that would have been such a nerve-wracking experience to be like, oh, it's not going well. It's fine. This is just a fine gig, but it's almost over. And then I get to 15 minutes in the show and I go, okay, I got another 15 minutes before this bit. I got another 15 minutes. And you're thinking about other things. And then it was just like, maybe I'll just treat myself and get some junk food on the way home. Maybe I'll go and get a burger or something. And then I'll go home with my dog Diggs and I'll just kind of sit there for a bit. And then I might watch something nice on TV. And you're doing that as you're like still doing the show.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that sometimes you kind of forget about, that not every night can be amazing, but also on the other side, sometimes you really do zone out and start to think about other things as well.
Yeah.
Which is the flip side of anxiety, I guess. In a way, it's like, I'm too comfortable at the moment and like, maybe I do need a heart attack moment again.
No, we're good for that. But yeah. But it's like that sometimes but then I guess like there's you must have felt such a homecoming kind of or just exactly as you said, it's like a return to where you were before when this like event happened, but then you're doing 4 weeks of shows, and the whole body of shows is the triumph, and actually in the middle of 28 shows or whatever, there has to be the best one, and there has to be the one that's like 28th in how enjoyable it was. So like, but then sometimes you can only focus on that show that doesn't go as well. But then you're like, then you're like, hang on, I did like in Edinburgh, like I did 24 in a row. Obviously, there's going to be 4 that are the bottom, but then there'll be 20 that did better. Do you know what I mean? But there's obviously going to be some that are worse than others. Not every show's the same.
And also, like, I found as well that it was like, the nights that it wasn't full, the nights that it was like half full, and it was the better nights. Like the people that would bang up for it were the people that were out at 9 p.m. on a Monday night. Because of course they are. Like, of course they're like the happiest to be there because they've booked tickets because they couldn't get in on the weekend. So they've booked tickets on a Monday night, and they're so much happier to be there than, some of the people that booked probably ages ago and kind of forgot about it. And then we're like, oh shit, we're going to go to this show, and we're going to drive into the city and do all of this. I found that it was a big level up for me to look at it and go, oh, like, and you get so much like, advice from comedians, and you probably have this as well, Lizzie, with people when you're starting to perform again. You go, there's so much advice that people give you. Some of it's great, and some of it, like, there's that old thing of like going, oh, picture everyone naked and look up the back of the room and everything. And it's like such shit advice. Like, it's all, you don't really know what it's going to be like for you until you're actually in it and doing it.
Yeah.
Totally. And well, that's quite a lovely segue, Sammy. We here at Stay Hydrated believe that staying hydrated is some of the best advice that we've been given. And also, it's one of the only things we can actually really implement, because we can't take on too much here. We
don't do a lot, but we do execute staying hydrated. You know what I mean? We really action that.
Yeah. So we've as you drink a coffee, and as you sip a wine. What is it? What wine is it?
I'm having it's called a Jan's, which is made in beautiful Tasmania. I don't know if you got to Tasmania in Australia. Have you been to Australia, Lizzie?
I have twice, actually.
Yep. Oh, right. Okay. Well, there's a beautiful part of Australia. I think one of the most beautiful parts of Australia is a place called Tasmania, which is on the bottom of the map and it's not connected to the rest of Australia. So it's like this little place and it's beautiful, and they make the best like Pinot Noir. They make the best sparkling wine. And
Nice.
I have mentioned Jan's Tasmania on nearly every podcast I've ever done. And so I get sent bottles of Jan's.
Do you?
I do. So
into
I
that.
still just say Jan's Tasmania anywhere I am. So if you're in the UK listening, get a Jan's Tasmania. I got contacted by the Jan's Tasmania people the other day, being like on a new podcast I've started, going, "Oh, we didn't think that you'd mention it on this podcast as well. Thank you so much. We'll have to send you something to say thank you." And I've never said no to them sending me things. I've sort of been like, sure. They've sent me aprons. They've sent me like shirts with Jan's Tasmania on them. I'm really ingrained in the Jan's Tasmania
ambassador.
brand.
Yeah.
I'm a brand ambassador of wine and sparkling wine, and it's like I just go down there and get smashed every now and again, and really drink my body weight of Jan's, and then
I love
promote
this
it.
Jan's.
It's so good. Yeah, it's Jan's Tasmania.
Quickly on Tasmania, I think somebody was. I think it was my producer in Adelaide last year was telling me that is it the capital that's on this on like this on the sea, and you can see these like massive starfish.
Yeah, Hobart, Tasmania. It's beautiful. Like it's out of this world. It's on this. There's a beautiful pier like right in the city, and there's everything about it is just so stunning. Like it's just a beautiful place, and it's a pretty.
Wow.
It's a bit colder, but it's some of the year it's really like just this beautiful kind of spring weather, and it's just like the nicest place that I think one of the nicest places to visit in Australia that I always try and go. So you should definitely do a show down there next time you're there, because they would love it. Like they love it when people come down and do shows there, because Tasmania usually gets left off in a tour as well. So it's really fun to come, and you can come and have some Jan's Tasmania with me.
Well, you'll have to come
I've got the
down.
key to the city, so I can.
Yeah, exactly. The only trivia I have, well, apart from Hobart with the starfish in the pier, is I watched a series of Australia's Next Top Model, and Ebony,
Great.
the winner, I believe, was from Tasmania. I can't tell you.
Fantastic. Australian reality TV is some of the funniest reality TV in the world.
When in Australia's Next Top Model, when she announces the winner wrong, and then has to go, "Oh my God, I'm sorry about this. I'm so sorry. Live TV, everyone." And she goes, "It's not Ellen. It's Sarah." Or whatever. I can't remember the names of the girls. And
Live
they have to
TV.
just go like, and like clap for the different girl. It's like,
That is hellish.
whoa.
They probably clap for themselves as well. It's such
Exactly.
an
Yeah,
Australian
honestly,
thing to just,
you've got to.
You have to watch The Real Housewives of Melbourne, which is it's
just
so
started that.
funny because it's just so funny because I live in the area that is filmed. Like it's it's quite a nice area, but there's also a lot of people that aren't like that as well. Like it's just very funny, and it's so overly produced and so overly done because they're trying to compete with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but we don't have a Beverly Hills here in Melbourne. So it's like, it's just really chic little cafes and everything. And they're like walking around and then they start doing lots of set dressing around all these places to make them look nicer. It's really worth watching. It's so funny
sounds
because
amazing.
it's so bad.
We watched episode 1 not that long ago, and they go for a dinner,
Yeah.
and the dinner looks like it's in like they've kind of, it's like an office room. It's like a boardroom that they've like kind of
room.
dressed a bit. They've kind of dimmed the lights and tried to like and make it look like a kind of posh. But it's fully just a room it could be anywhere. It could be in a shop. Like it's but they are fabulous. Is it Jackie who's got the rocker boyfriend? The rock
Jackie's got the rock star boyfriend that she always says looks like Dave Grohl, but everyone says he looks like a fat Johnny Depp.
Yeah. And what's the band that he's in?
He's in Silverchair in Australia.
Yeah, I'm Jackie. My husband's in Silverchair.
Her catchphrase is shine, shine, shine. That's what she says. She always says, well, shine, shine, shine.
Yeah.
And
What does
they
that
all
even
did
mean?
live shows after it as well. It doesn't really mean anything, Lizzie.
Right.
It just means shine, shine, shine. But she did live shows doing where she would get. I went to see one of them, and it was just her just shouting, shine, shine, shine.
Yeah, hey.
That's amazing.
If you fill the seats, you do whatever you want, Jackie.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's an older in Australia. There's this, she's a showbiz royalty here in Australia. Her name is Ding Dong Drysdale. And that's her real name is Denise Drysdale, but they call her Ding Dong. And she does a 10:30 a.m. show for all the retirees. And 10:30 a.m. and she wears this sparkly blazer, and my friend went to go and see her. And because I was like, what is this show? Because she's an old dancer. She used to dance on TV. She's never really been a live performer by herself, and certainly not someone that speaks that much. She's always dancing in the background. But now she's older. She's been on lots of TV shows. She's always on a panel, and they always cross to Ding Dong for her advice on something, which is it's never much. But she did this thing where it was like she opened the show where she'd walk out on stage and she'd lie on the stage of this RSL club in Australia, like a really shitty kind of place. And she'd lie on the ground and be like shimmying like this for ages. And she'd go, what am I? What am I? And people call out different things from the audience, and she'd be on the ground just shimmying like that for a really long time. And then someone would eventually just keep calling out stuff, and no one would ever get it, of course. And then she'd stand up and go, I was bacon. And then she'd start the show. And I think it's the best opener ever because it doesn't make sense. Right. It doesn't need to make sense. And the audience apparently lose their mind.
Yeah. Does she do that every time? Show. That's her opener for the...
Every show. It never changes. Apparently that's the go-to. And my friend and I really wanted to go to the 10:30 a.m. show. Right. But we couldn't make it work. But it was like, 10:30 a.m. you have your brekkie and watch the show, and then you have a light lunch after that with all the people, and you get the bus out there. And I think it sounds like one of the greatest shows of all time.
I love it. Yeah, put that on the list as well as Tasmania for next Australian tour.
The big two things. I'll take you to both.
Yeah, the big two.
Yeah. Oh, we are hitting that up.
The Australian big two. It's just those two.
That's
big
right.
Two. It's just those two.
I've hit the big time.
Where did you go in Australia when you went again?
I just did classic, like I'm on my gap year down the Gold Coast.
Down the coast.
Yeah.
Great.
And then I flew to Sydney because, how often are you in Australia? Got to do it.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Sydney's fun. Sydney's really good. Like, I really like Sydney as well. Like, Australia's just very different in every place that you go to as well. I mean, it's like the UK as well. Like, everywhere's just so different.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, Australia also has very different, not as vast as the UK and not as different in every little pocket, but Australia does have people who are very, very, very hard to understand. And I'm always told that I've got a very Australian accent, but as you get further and further north, it goes to a way that you cannot understand at all. And there's people that just kind of go, how are you, eh?
Yeah.
You good, eh? And you just can't understand a word they're saying. I can't understand a word they're saying.
Yeah.
Which is always like so funny when you're doing a show there and can't understand what an audience member is saying.
We're just rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just roll with it, yeah.
We watch Australian Survivor, and there's probably one every season where we're like, okay, we're not going to understand her. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. That's okay.
Move on, we need subtitles.
Or we can really tune in after a couple episodes, but you're
True.
like, whoa, you really need to like just prick up the antennas.
Yeah. There was one, the one where she got put out and she went, I'm spewing. And we were like, that is so iconic.
Yeah, I'm spewing is so funny.
Yeah.
I'm spewing. The insults and everything are so ridiculous as well. And I just love a really Australian person that just goes, you just hear them out of nowhere just go, fuck. And then you go, and it's just such a funny, like it's like a guttural feeling. There's that Australian thing that you probably heard I overheard it the other day, and you never really hear this saying that much, but it is so funny anytime you hear it because it's a legitimate saying in Australia, and it is, I'm not here to fuck spiders. So it's like if you're like out somewhere and you see one of your mates and you go, oh, you here having a drink? Are you here for a drink? And they go, well, I'm not here to fuck spiders, mate.
Yeah.
That is...
You never hear it.
But you're not.
It's so honest.
Yeah.
It's so honest.
I'm not here to fuck spiders.
I'm not here to fuck spiders. There was at least one person who once was, but that person is not there to fuck spiders.
There has to be
for that saying to exist.
Quite a tough origin story.
Right.
I feel I'm taking that with me. I feel...
Yeah, I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Well, I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Yeah,
I kind of am obsessed
and spewing.
with that.
Take spewing as
and
well.
Spewing. Yeah, that was incredible.
And then when I was in Australia last year, people said, "Oh, true," as in like,
true.
Like seriously, or yeah. And I really liked that. It also really works in an Australian accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny when you're in the middle of a conversation with someone and you just go, yeah, I went there last week, and they go, true.
yeah.
And you're like, yep, that's pretty, thanks. Yeah, it is true.
It is true. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah. Although imagine if you were lying. It interrupts the flow
of conversation, so yeah, in such a big way as well. Because you try and chat to someone and they just keep going, true.
True.
You're like, no, I know, I'm telling you it's true.
I know it's
Believe
true.
me.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Sammy, the question we want to ask you is, what is some of the best... I feel we've already covered it really, but in what we've been talking about, but what's some of the best advice you could give to our listeners, or some of the best advice that you've been given?
Well, I had a friend that once told me a piece of advice that I really liked, and I said it to so many people. I said to so many people, his advice was, one time when it was like, I think as an adult, when you drive a lot, sometimes you won't get the petrol at night. Like when your car is running on empty and you go, I'll do it in the morning, I'll do it in the morning, I'll do it in the morning. And it's like the silliest thing you can do as an adult to like be like, I'll just do it in the morning, I'll just do it in the morning. My friend said to me when I was telling them that once, it was like, I always stuff myself over from the night before when I don't put out my clothes or something just so simple. And he said, always do your dishes at night before you go to bed, right? And I told people this for ages because I thought this was such like a philosophical thing of going, oh my God, yeah, always do the thing the night before because it'll really stuff you around, And a little while ago, we were all sitting at a restaurant and I wasn't going to go and do a gig or anything at the restaurant. The waiter was going to tap me on and go, you can do a gig if you want. Yeah. But I was like, oh yeah. But my friend was sitting there. And I said, oh, my God, Josh, remember when you said to me, you should always do your dishes the night before because you don't want to do them in the morning? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, I've told so many people that. I think that's such a good philosophical thing to live by. Like, don't hurt tomorrow you because you want to do that. And he goes, man, I was just talking about dishes.
Yeah. That's the extent of what it was. It was just...
That's the extent of what it was. It wasn't anything more than that. Yeah. And I read into it way too much. Like I thought this was the biggest philosophical question in the world. Like going, oh yeah, I guess. Like if you don't do the dish, like it was, and he just goes, I was just literally saying, do the dishes in the morning because it's really annoying to do them in the morning.
Yeah. Don't leave food out overnight. Is what I was saying.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much impact.
And you've got like a tattoo.
Like
Yeah. You've got like a tattoo of it down.
Always do dishes.
A lower back tattoo that says do your dishes at night instead of doing them in the morning.
I love
But it sounds way better than it does. Like it sounds way better. But I think a lot of the time, especially when it gets to like, late at night and you're really tired and you just want to go to bed, I think like pulling apart his quote a little bit to something that is actually more useful than that, it is really interesting, I think, to go, oh, like you should actually do something at night that helps tomorrow you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's really annoying when you hurt tomorrow you by going, oh, I'm not going to have that extra 5 minutes, or I can't sleep in that little bit longer, or I can't do this and I can't do that. I think, for me, it's like do something for tomorrow you and relieve a little bit of tomorrow's weight of every single thing you have to do by ticking one little thing off that you could do tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's all you. You're only fucking over yourself, really, aren't you?
You're only, really, yeah. Like, I always seem to do that. Like, it doesn't matter how much older I get, I always go, I could just do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's never a good idea. Like, it's never been a good idea to put something off until tomorrow.
Totally. And it's always such a good feeling when you go, oh, thanks, yesterday me.
Yeah, thanks, yesterday. Yeah, you nailed it.
The smallest of action could like the tiniest thing, but then the feeling of being like, oh, I like yesterday me like was really had my back is like such a boost. It like adds such a spring in your step.
Yeah, and it puts a little spring in your step as well when you go, oh, I've just done something. I've just ticked something off.
Yeah.
But going back to my friend, he was just saying, just do the dishes at night.
Yeah.
Just do them.
Just don't be that roommate who doesn't do the dishes.
Yeah. I found out my friend isn't a big philosophy guy after that.
Right.
You know, he really did strongly believe it. Yeah.
You have depth.
But yeah, but that is I don't know, that's just a piece of advice that I always remember as something that is really good. And especially, I do actually have a tattoo and it says it doesn't matter. I probably can't see it there because that was a piece of advice that I got given when I was really like scared to go back on stage. Someone just said just one time, they're like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I guess it doesn't, like, you know, it really doesn't. It really doesn't matter, which sounds more depressing than it is, but it's like, oh, I think, you know, this gig tonight is not going to, it's at the end of the day, it's not going to be as a big a deal as I think it's going to be.
No. And it's not a big deal for the people in the audience. They're either going to watch you crush it or watch you go like, oh, and go about their day tomorrow, go home, do the dishes and wake up tomorrow,
do the dishes.
you know, and kind of move on.
Yeah, stuff over tomorrow then because they're stuck doing the dishes, which we all are.
Exactly.
In the end. Have you? Yeah, because I don't know. I think advice, you know, it works so differently for other people, and also like something resonates and hits a lot harder with some people than it does with other people as well. You know, like philosophy and everything. Like it is so interesting when you go, oh yeah, this really worked for me, and someone else is like, nah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
do
right. No, I'm just giving you a piece of advice there, and they go, nah. I'm not here to fuck spiders, is what I meant to say.
I'm not here to fuck spiders.
And I think it's also it's like the timing that the advice gets given to you. Even like a future version of you and a past version of you might not have resonated with. It doesn't matter, or might not, you know, or you know, something that gets told to Elizabeth you a year ago might not have wanted it. But like it's so interesting how like the collision of where you are in your life, your experiences, and then like the person who's giving you the advice, what the advice is. Sometimes like it just hits magically, and you can exactly take that dishes thing and be like, whoa, you're so deep, man. But then he was like, no,
blew my
brother.
mind.
It was, yeah.
I was literally just talking about dishes, which is, you know, is so funny for someone else to read into that so much and too much as well. Like, I think we can also hang on to things when we're really young as well. You always hang on to things and remember things that had such an impact on you, and then you can say it. I'm always surprised when someone says something to me like that I apparently said to them 3 years ago and I can't remember anything that happened a day ago. Like I'm just like, oh, right. Like I didn't know that happened at all. And it's so interesting that people do take little moments, and everyone's little moments are so different. Like everyone's little moment from remembering someone when they met someone, or remembering this part of someone's conversation or someone's life is always so different. And you go, oh yeah, I don't really or I didn't really look at it like that, or I didn't really remember it like that. And yeah, I guess when you do a lot of talking and stuff, especially in podcasts and on stage, it is interesting when people do take parts from something you've said that you don't even know you said or meant. You're like, oh yeah, I don't know if I agree with myself now.
Yeah, but I'm glad you took it that way. If it's helping you, that's right.
You took it that way. I'm glad you got something out of that, because I certainly didn't. I moved on really quickly.
So you finished Melbourne Comedy Festival now. What's next for the show? Any chance of a UK?
Well, I hope so. I'm doing Perth in Australia, then Brisbane, Sydney, Hobart in Tasmania, Canberra. So I'm going all around Australia, and then I really hope that I'll get over to UK. I'd really love to. I've never done stand-up as a show before. Like, I mean, it's the first time I've done it in Australia, so I would love to. I've done a couple of gigs in the UK before, but I'd love to go over and, you know, I haven't been over there in so long to do a gig, so I'd absolutely love to. Maybe I can get some handy tips from you, Chris, on where to go and what to do, because I would love to do it one day.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. You'd be amazing. I'm hopefully manifesting doing some shows in Australia next year, so hopefully.
Oh, really?
We'll be able to,
I'm putting it out there. I'm saying it on the pod.
Putting it out there.
That's what I'm hoping.
You're going to come over and do the festivals again, do you think? Or are you just going to come over?
I hope to have a new show, a cook-in this year to be ready to serve next year.
You will. You're always doing whips. I always see you doing whips. Yeah. You're always working on new shows.
I'm always working on something. Who knows what I'm doing?
You're doing something. What about you, Lizzie? You're going to come over to Australia sometime soon and sing for everybody?
That would be amazing. I would love to do that. I would love to come back to Australia. And now I know I need to hit up Jan's.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like there's much more for me to discover. I would love to sing in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and I'll be over in the UK real soon. I'm manifesting it right now by just saying it out loud, and
yes.
And I will do the dishes tomorrow. It's the other manifestation. No, tonight. Before tomorrow. I've already fucked it up.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode with Sammy Petersen, you can go and listen to our episode of Sammy's podcast right now.
Am I the asshole? Go and listen to it right now. It's called Confessions on all the things, but you can go and listen to it right now. It'll already be up there, and it's called Confessions. But every second week, I bring out an episode called Am I the Asshole? And you two are going to be on that. So I'm going to read you some Am I the Asshole Reddit threads and then see if you think these people are assholes, which, spoiler, they usually are.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah. And you have two other podcasts as well that you have up.
I do. So I've got another one called Not Another Crime Podcast in Australia. So me and my friend Georgia Love, we talk about different true crimes every week and put together a bit of a report on a true crime. And then I have another one with my friend Bron Lewis, which is a crazier one. It's called Your Two Drunk Aunties. And basically we just drink wine, Jans always, and have a go at someone online. So that's usually drunk auntie vibe. So we just have a go at someone, have a go at each other, usually have a fight during the podcast, and then it starts again the next week. So it's that's another one. But I'm Sammy Petersen Unofficial is my Instagram, and you can check out all my goddamn things. I'm doing a lot of things, so you can check them out. And I'll be posting if I ever come to the UK, which I will.
You got to. If you come into the UK, we'll let you know.
I've got to.
And don't know where our international listeners are. Yeah, but I'm sure if there's any Australian listeners, I'm sure they already know who you are. But if they don't, then there we go. And thank you so much, Sammy, for being here via Zoom. We love it.
Thank you.
And
what a pleasure and a thrill.
It's been amazing. Thanks to you for being here.
Thanks to you for being here.
And we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Just before bed is good for your head. What you gonna do? Stay hydrated. Stay